What's up, guys? I received a very intellectual, well thought out, well spoken, well said comment from a subscriber this morning, and I actually received two, and I thought I would read the comments to you and then I would discuss them a little bit, because it is very, very pertinent and relative information that you probably need to know if you're coming to the Philippines. Whether you're coming for a vacation or whether you're coming to stay, you probably need to know this stuff. So let me read. He was responding to my expectations versus reality 3 topics video. And he said, "You forgot to mention the staring at foreigners by everyone. Even when you were videoing, people passing you, mostly men, are staring or once passed, looking back at you. Even those riding motos away from you, looking back at you. I often wondered, why do they openly stare at foreigners? Considering the Philippines was occupied by the USA for well over 50 years, when there would have been many Americans living in the Philippines. I'm a New Zealander, but I was stared at as soon as I showed my face outside my front gate, and total strangers calling out to me, 'Hi Joe,' or 'Hey Joe,' or 'Joe,' or 'Americano,' or 'Cano.' Even by small children. All of it I found to be a bit rude. I'm a retired man, by the way, and a grandfather, so I'm not young, but the Pinoys don't appear to care. My dearest wife of 20 years plus is a Filipino, says they do not respect foreigners. It shows. Consequently, because they think all white men are Americans, this tells me they do not respect Americans. I told my American friends of this theory, but they did not want to know. It's kind of a bit racist in a way, and that's what I believe it is. I enjoy your videos, Jeremy, because I have a wide knowledge of the culture there. You tell it how it is without any sugarcoating. Keep it up. Visitors have a need to know. P.S. By the way, in New Zealand culture, it is regarded as rude for people to stare at others. So we don't do it, and parents instruct their children not to stare at people. Is it the same in North Carolina, which is where I'm from? And the answer to that question is yes, it is the same. He wrote back, "Hello again. It's not that I do not like Filipinos, to the contrary. I have some very close amigos there in Cebu, business associates, some law enforcement friends, and a lot of other acquaintances I have known for years. But there is an element in the Filipino society that demonstrates by their behavior that they dislike Americans. Usually, they are not well educated and have never had the opportunity of having a foreigner friend, as those that do have foreigner friends would never dream of insulting them. I come from a military and law enforcement background, Jeremy, so maybe I'm different. I believe in societal discipline. Therefore, I don't take kindly to what I perceive to be inappropriate behavior or language directed at myself or anyone else unable to defend themselves. I'll be looking for your ongoing vids." And then he says his goodbyes. Now, we could talk about this for a second, because when I got here, I felt the exact same way. I was insulted by being stared at so much, and I was in Cebu, which is a place that, you know, foreigners go. There's not a lot of... See, I've had the privilege of living in the big city and the very teeny tiny municipality in this country. I'm very fortunate for that, to see the difference. And in Cebu, you would think that you're not going to get stared at or yelled at or called names or that kind of thing when you're walking down the road, but you do, and you will. Now, is that a reason to get angry with the Filipino people? For me, it was when I got here. It is not anymore, because I now understand that they just don't know. It's not that they're intentionally trying to be a-holes or rude to you or that kind of thing. It's some of them have never seen a foreigner before. When you get to the province, there are places that you will go that the people, especially the kids, have only seen 1 or 2 foreigners in their life. or never seen one at all. So for them to stare and me get insulted by it, I can't do that, because I understand now that I've been here long enough. You know, they're not staring because they want to be rude to me. They're staring because they want to see me. They want to see what it's like to see a foreigner. Like, they want to know what it's like to be a foreigner. They want to stare at a light-skinned person because they've never done it before. Now, in Cebu, it's a little bit different. Even when I was there last week, I was given some nice racial slurs, because racism is a real thing here, okay? Again, I am a guest in this country. I can always leave if it gets too much for me to bear. However, there is a thing called human decency, and I think that's what this commenter was referring to. And the human decency aspect is, you know, don't stare at me. I'm no different than you. I just look different. That's the same thing we fight in America all the time, right? With racism, same thing. We just look different over here. Whether you're from New Zealand or UK or Australia or Germany or wherever, you just look different. And some of these people find that to be mesmerizing in a way. Many times, the things that they are hollering at me when I pass by are not racial slurs. They're hollering, you know, the "what's up, Joe" and that kind of thing. And so that term comes from, you know, G.I. Joe, right? That's what that comes from. And all the military that was stationed here, and I'm not a military expert, so don't you freaking military veterans that are here go all hogwash, ape crap, trying to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that's where the term comes from, is G.I. Joe. And that's why they call us Joe, okay? And I have been called Joe on numerous occasions. At first, again, I thought it was insulting, and then I learned what the term meant and where it came from, because I thought they were saying, like, you know, you're just some average Joe or something like that. That's not what they mean. They're saying Joe from back in the military days, and I didn't learn this until I went to Subic Bay, ironically enough. So when I went to Subic Bay and they were hollering, hey Joe, I was informed then on what that term meant, and I haven't been upset or felt disrespected since. So I guess my overall point is I completely understand where this commenter's coming from. Completely. 100%. Because I felt the exact same way. When I got here. And I too have Filipino friends. I love the Filipino people. But there's always going to be that select few. It doesn't matter if you're in this country or another country or anywhere, that is going to disrespect you because of the way you look, that is going to disrespect you because you're different, that is going to disrespect you because they think you have something that they don't, that is going to be disrespectful just because of their simple personal insecurities. And I would just want to tell everybody to try to look over that when you come here, because if you get caught up in that kind of stuff, and it, like, you know, if it causes a serious problem where you're thinking about that all the time and you don't want to go out because you're scared somebody may call you a racial slur or something, then you got to really, you know, evaluate your purpose in being here, because that can be taxing on the mind, you know, and nobody wants to be stressed out all the time. Totally understand this commenter, and you know, it was a great comment, well written, well explained, understand 1,000,000% where he's coming from, and I would just say that my experience has taught me that just because I get yelled at or, you know, stared at here doesn't always mean that the person is being rude. Not always, sometimes. In fact, the vast majority of the time, if you're in a large city, for me, it means that they're being rude, but not so much in the province. So those are my thoughts. I hope you guys keep that in mind, and be easy, guys. If you don't do anything else, make sure you do more life.